This video shows us putting up our bell tent for the very first time. I made lots of mistakes, as you'll see, so it's not a how-to video, but I hope it will give you the confidence to see that anyone can put up a bell tent on their own. As you can see, I didn't know where the door of the tent was. Over time, obviously, you develop techniques to make things easier, and one of the most effective is packing away the tent in the same way each time so that you do know where the door is. This tent came with 2 sets of pegs for the ground sheet, one to hold it in place through some D-rings and the other one to hold the elastics which pull the flap over the zipper to keep water out of it. I quickly noticed at campsites that most people only use 1 set of pegs for both those purposes, and to be honest, that's what I do most of the time too. Putting the centre pole in felt quite difficult this first time, and I wasn't sure whether it was because I wasn't strong enough. However, I quickly realised on subsequent occasions that actually it wasn't my strength that was lacking at all, it was my technique. And now I can very easily put in the centre pole for a 6-metre bell tent on my own, even if it has an additional fly sheet on top. It does help to have someone hold the door open if you've got them available, so that you don't create a vacuum. And you need to use the pole to lift the tent, not try to do it with your own weight. So there's some levering going on there. I will try and video that from the inside to show you, because I think it would be interesting for people to see. Because this was the first time we'd used it, I had to tie the guy ropes on, but usually those are already in place unless you've had it in storage or sent it to be cleaned or something. When I went to put a guy rope on the top of the door, I suddenly realised I hadn't put the A-frame in yet. Oopsie daisy. Better get that in next. Putting the A-frame in is very easy. As you can see, it's sprung loaded like the centre pole, so it just clicks into place. When you take it inside the tent, you have to insert it into a hole with a grommet at the top of the door, obviously being a bit careful not to tear the tent. And then the side poles have little guides on the floor to make sure they don't slip wider than they're meant to go. With the A-frame in place, I could get back to putting on the main guy. Something I didn't notice was that there are actually 2 different lengths of guy line, so I accidentally put a standard line on the door in this video, and I should have put a longer one on, and I noticed later and swapped it over, and that gives you a little bit more scope to put that really important guy line in the right place. And that's pretty much the tent put up. You do need to put a rain cap on top of the A-frame where it pokes through the grommet above the door to keep water out. And in hindsight, it all looks a bit saggy and twisted. I haven't necessarily placed the guy lines in the ideal place or tensioned them correctly, but that came with experience. And it's still a really solid structure, even if you don't do it perfectly. With the tent up, we decided to try the rag rugs out to see how they went in. They come in half moons, so you need to buy 2, or sometimes sold as a full moon, 2 pieces, to cover the whole of the floor in your bell tent. And for me, they are one of the indicators of glamping. They just transform the experience of living in a tent. Most bell tent suppliers suggest that it takes about 20 minutes to put up a bell tent, and I think that's accurate for 2 people, maybe about half an hour for one, and I would suggest it's going to be closer to an hour for your first time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more glamping videos.